Hey guys, I typed this in the chat, but I just wanted to say it live. We're getting started a bit later than we normally do today, just because someone's in here is fixing our Wi-Fi, and it may cut out for the next 10 minutes, so I'm just going to start a little bit later. I'm going to keep the stream up, and if it gets a little choppy at times, then we'll fix it. But I just wanted to let you know what's going on. Hey guys, how's it going? I have a fun class planned today. We're going to be using nunchucks, but I just wanted to let you know first and foremost, we have somebody in here fixing our Wi-Fi. Literal godsend. We were having trouble with it this morning, but because of that, it's going to be off and on or very, very choppy. We were going to wait to get the stream started, but I figured I would just get it going, and if it's choppy, it's choppy. But if it is, that's the reason why. I'll make sure I explain things several times for that reason. I have a pretty good indicator on my system that tells me that whether it's green or red or where we're at. So right now, I can see that it's smooth. Somebody's fixing the Wi-Fi. It's going to cut in and out. If it does, feel free to work on your nunchuck things, the things that I show you for a little bit extra time. So let's get started, shall we? So to get started, I want you to just start spinning like we did last week, one direction. One direction. Now when I'm spinning it forward, away from my head. Away from my head. Your goal is to spin it at the exact same time. So keep doing it, keep doing it. Woo. Same time. Same time. If you want a challenge, you can try to step and move and do it. It's harder than it looks. My suggestion is always keep it attached to your body. Your body's going to want to change directions there. It's going to want to come more in as you turn. Don't. Just keep it where it's at. Be confident that you're spinning. Keep doing it. This will warm up our wrists a little bit. Not only that, this is a move in itself. There you go. Nice. Now freeze. Now we're going to do it backwards. So backwards. So it's coming towards our head. So if I do this sideways, look what I'm doing here. It's spinning towards my head. Towards. It's coming to me, away from me. So make sure it's going away, towards, away. If I'm going the other direction, I'm starting it by spinning it away from my head, keep it towards. Both sides, try to spin it at the same time. Again, we're just getting our wrists warmed up, our mind warmed up to do a lot more things. This is the things we did last week, so if you missed last week's class, feel free to go back and watch it after this class. It will be a good instruction, a good starting point for a lot of our things. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do wrist rolls and fun things like that. So if you don't know your basics, some of it can be a bit hard. But don't worry, we're going to review all of the basics. Quick rundown before we even do that. So let's get started with forward and backward. So if you don't have this down, just hit your shoulder, lift your elbows up, tuck it underneath. If you have that down, forward, tuck, up. If you have that down, forward, tuck, backwards, up. One. So 1, 2, and just doing one each. I know not everybody's going to be there. I think most people, if you're a purple belt, you're a green belt, you should just be doing this. Hit your shoulder, tuck it under your armpits, and catch. Get real used to that. If you have that down, you're a brown belt, you've been doing this for ages, try to add a couple spins in between. If you're a red belt or a black belt, adding both directions tends to be a good one. So keep doing that. I'm going to give you guys some time to practice. And again, if it ever cuts out, just keep doing what I've been showing you, right? You guys don't have to go much farther than that. All right. Now, I'm going to show you the rest of the basics. We're going to move on to our strikes. So let's first start out. I want you to put both nunchucks together and go side up. Diagonal, side, up. Do that a couple of times until you get used to it. Once you get used to it, what I'm going to have you do is switch to the other side. I did not go over this last week, but I'm just going to do it real fast. These are 2 nunchucks. If you want to do it with 1, you can. I just do 2 because that's typically what my favorite weapon or what I like to do with nunchucks. I'm going to let go of my top, switch to the other side. So again, what I'm going to do is let go of the top, throw it over my other shoulder, catch. Feel free to switch back and forth like that. Once you get that down, you're on this side, side, diagonal, up. Do it a couple times, get used to it. Once you got that all down, here's what I want you to do. You're going to switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3. Now, preferably your better switch here is to not let go of the top, but let go of the bottom. So that way it makes things a bit smoother and when you're comboing. When you let go of the bottom, it comes up to the top and then you switch. It just feels a little bit smoother than doing it this way. Oh, I'm not good with my right. 1, 2, 3. Dad?
Oh, can't see.
All right.
We're all good. All set. Wireless.
Now
check
here we
wireless here real quick.
Sure. Feel free to thank the wireless guy in the comments. All right. Okay. Now I want you to do with 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Feel free to speed it up once you got it down. Woo. And get used to it. We're reviewing the basics. Let me go over that a bit more for the people who missed last week. Diagonal, down, side, back up. Other side, diagonal, side,
wireless is
up.
working.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Switching back and forth. Nice. And keep it up.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Good job, guys. Good job. Keep going, keep going. You guys are doing incredible. All right. So wireless seems to be all good to go. We're good moving forward. Those are some of the basics. I'm going to do 2 more basics, and then I'm going to start to work on the fun things, okay? So start it up here. I want you to work on a figure 8 with one hand, keeping your other one up top. Once you got the figure 8 with one hand, feel free to tuck it back under, throw it back up. Figure 8. You're going to do a back fist flip here. Just go back fist, tuck under, back up, and switch back and forth. Now your goal is to do maybe 1, maybe 2. Woo. And keep switching back and forth. Just get used to this figure 8. Nice, good job. Now keep it up, keep it up. You guys are doing great. I'm going to make this a little bit faster and a little bit more smooth, okay? Now, I want you to do same time. 1, 2, 3, back fist, tuck, up. You need to line them up. You need to do it together. If they're not together, it doesn't look as good. So try it out. Do it a couple of times. Figure 8s with both hands. Back fist, tuck, up. Now I know this is not something we did last week, but it's something very, very familiar. It's something very, very familiar. We did the figure eights and we didn't do the back fist flip. But the back fist flip into your armpit catch, aren't technical terms, but it's what I call them, is going to feel very intuitive. I've taught ninjas before this, and the main thing that they struggle with is they overcomplicate it. And I know some of you guys may be overcomplicating it right now. So all you're doing is once you're gone here into your figure eight, spin, tuck under. We did that just a second ago. Spin, tuck under, up. Feel free to do it with both. 1, 2, 3. Then go figure eights, spin, tuck under, up. Your back fist flip is literally just that outside spin once. If you want to add it more, you can, but it's literally just it going once around, under, up. Perfect. Okay, you guys are doing incredible. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them. I'm checking them a little bit more often today. Let me see. Well, I see Penny's here, and Caitlin and Carter. How's it going, guys? All right. Now is time for... we're not quite to the fun stuff. I know. I keep adding the more basics on. But there's one thing from last week that I really want to review. The cross figure eight. Now, if you did not do this last week, I want you to look at me. Do your figure eight. Nice. Now, without using this nunchuck, I want you to cross and pretend you're doing it. Keep your arms wide. X, 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 X. Downward X. There you go. X, X. Then once you got that, do 2 nunchucks. Then move them in, so use just your elbow spinning them. Now once you got that, use your wrists. Nice. So keep going. I'm going to show you the moves. I'm going to explain them a little bit, but if you have them down, just practice them. So if I was watching the stream right now, what I would be doing is just going like this as fast as I can, seeing if I can keep it up without hitting myself several times. Woo! All right. Okay. So those are our warm-ups. Our warm-ups were the things we did last week. Here's my goal today. Getting down this move. Getting down this move. Maybe with both hands, maybe with one. And then getting down, finally, this move. We don't have to do triple spins, but just that first one, this. So, 3 moves we're going to get down today, okay? 3 moves. If you have questions, go into the comments, type them, I'll answer them. Weapons, I gotta say, is one of the hardest things for me to teach over the internet. You know, a front kick, I can break it down really slowly. With weapons, you may think you're doing the move right, or you may not be doing the move right, but it's hard to figure out why, right? When I'm watching you, I can tell you why. With a front kick, you can pretty much see why your front kick's not working. You know, I'm not chambering, I'm not kicking high enough. It's hard to hit with the ball of my foot. But with weapons, it's a lot of times you'll mess up and you don't know why you messed up. So if you have a question, here's what I want you to do. Type what happened in the comments. So a good example of something that may go wrong, I'm about to teach this in a second, is you going like this, right? Say, I wasn't able to wrap my hand around and it dropped to the floor. Then I can teach you a better way of going about it. Speaking of that, let me teach you how to do this. So what I want you to do is I want you to get one nunchuck. You can put your other nunchuck on the ground if you'd like. One nunchuck, put it up. Make sure your thumb is pointed down. You're giving a thumbs down. Now I want you to point your thumb up. Do that a couple times. I know it seems silly, but try it out. And when you do it, see if you can throw this nunchuck around your wrist and back. Bam, 1. I know a lot of you guys won't do that. You'll just hit your wrist and it'll kind of awkwardly come down. That's fine. But just come around. Throw it over the top. Bam, 1. Keep doing it. You got it. Now what you'll see is I'm purposely opening my hand up so it can roll around my wrist. You don't have to do that. That's just a simple move. Especially when you're doing a figure 8 and you want to switch directions. That's how you do it. We'll get there. For right now, this is just teaching you how to throw your nunchuck around. How to get this motion. This rainbow motion with your nunchuck. And that's actually how I typically explain it, is this nunchuck is like a rainbow. It's a little, what's a paint stick called? A brush, a paintbrush, yes, the thing that I forget sometimes. So it's like a paintbrush and you're drawing a rainbow across. 1. If you're doing it okay, that's fine. Start down, flip up. 1, 2. Now if you got that down, do your other side. 1, 2. Again, start your thumb down, spin it up, hit your wrist, and if you get stuck here, that's fine. But preferably, throw it back over. Hit your wrist, throw it back over. Bam. Keep going with this. Try both right and left. If you got that down, there is one more way that you can go about this. You can try your second nunchuck. Now, if you do not have the first one down, don't do 2 at the same time. It's going to be confusing. Cool, cool, cool. So keep going. If you're struggling with that, keep doing it. Because if you don't have that down, none of the other moves that we're doing today is going to be possible. But if you do have it down, try to do what I told you to do before. Do a figure 8, then do a couple spins, throw it around. Oh, sorry, maybe an invert. Go backwards with it. Go backwards, throw it around, and then reverse into a figure 8. Go to the other side, throw around, inverse. Now, that's very, very complicated. This is only for like the people who've been doing nunchuck a while. I don't think I would even show this to my demo team yet. I don't think a lot of them are there. Seems like I'm not there either. All right. So you guys probably have this down at this point. Great. If you don't worry. I want you to move forward and I want you to take it slow. Here's the next move. I'm going to put my thumb down. I'm going to bring it up and throw it over. I'm going to freeze here. From here, all I'm going to do is let go and flip my hand to the other side. I'm going to do this 5 times, going like this. 1, 2. Now, if I don't have a nunchuck, I'm going here, 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 here. I do it on my right hand. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's in front of the strings, right? So it shouldn't drop to the ground. You may struggle a little bit if you're not fully turning your wrist. If you're trying to do this, you may be like, ugh. And it's hard to find. Keep your hand flat. 1, 2. That's all I'm doing. Practice it back and forth. You got this down well? Switch your hands. Do it on the other side. 1, 2. You got that down. Make sure your palms are facing each other. Do it at the same time with both hands. I know it looks silly, but this is how you're going to practice a lot of your tosses. Or not, well, tosses, yeah, too. But mostly your wrist rolls. One of the most popular things in nunchuck. Now keep going with it. Get used to this. I want you to do it so much that you're tired. That you're saying, Master Nick, I can't do another half wrist roll anymore. You know what? I know you guys can, though. You can do them for ages. And see, I just dropped my first nunchuck. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you a common mistake. What happened was, when I was here, I got a little bit too anxious and I rotated my hands, which meant this nunchuck started to fall off. If I'm not between the ropes, it's gonna drop. There's a fundamental rule to all weapons, not just nunchuck. If there's nothing between your weapon and the ground, it's going to fall. I know it's a simple rule, it's a law of physics. I'm sure several laws of physics. I'm not a good physics person, but it's an important one. It's simple but important. If my hand's not here and I try to do this, and I try to let go and grab the other side, it's going to go to the ground until something gets in its way. That's why we have the rope here. As long as my hand's in front of this rope, it will never fall. But the second my hand is removed from that equation, it's going to drop. Alright, so you got that down. Now we're going to do this a little bit faster. You're going to go here, and the second it's about to hit your wrist, you're going to let go and do that turn I just taught you. Here, go. That's it very, very slowly. 1, 2. Now your other nunchuck should be on the ground right now. Mine is not because I'm going to be moving forward. 1, 2. If you got this down, you need to do it on the other side. 1, 2. Now, remember, the rope needs to be between my hand and the ground so I can switch and catch. And in fact, if you want to do that, 1, 2, and go slower, go for it. If you want to go faster, go for it. Once you get this down, feel free to go fast. 1, and how I'm setting that up is I'm taking my back of my thumb, I'm pointing to the ground, I'm coming up and then flipping. So I'm going to the side of my body, my thumb pointing down, bring it to the front, then flip. That's how I get a lot of my motion. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Everything I'm doing here is what you guys just did, right? Now, feel free, leave in the comments, what's happening? Tell me if you're dropping it at all. There we go. One of my strings is attaching to the 2 bar-like things, is really short. Is there a way to adjust the string? You know what, Carter? That's a really good question. A question I get a lot for nunchucks. The answer is yes. If you have one from Century, it's a little bit more difficult. You can't do this today. You're not going to be able to do it today. But the key is, if you got one of these foam ones like I do, it is very, very difficult. Because, I wish I could show you the inside. But there's one that's kind of like, how the strings are is they're a loop, right? They're like this. Then they tie a knot between those 2 strings. So it's one string that comes around and then tied. There's little bars, right? So you hook it around the bar and then you tie it around the other one. So to do this, you have to untie the other one and then you have to make it a little bit longer. Or maybe you do one side. That's hard to do with Century ones, the pre-made ones. I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't mess with it because you're probably going to ruin your nunchuck. With that being said, no matter how small your nunchucks are, you should still be able to do this. It's going to be harder to do these flips, and you may need to use your finger to practice it, but it's the same sort of system. It's going to be hard. By the way, these are made for like a 3-year-old. I talked about this last week on how you know you have a good nunchuck. If you put your hand like this and they both can be straight, that's your right size. Let me give you an example. It is the right size for, not even for my pinky. But you can still do these moves. It's going to be more difficult to get your hand around, and you maybe need to do it between 2 fingers and not 3, but you can still do them. Woo. And that's my suggestion, Carter, is if you want to practice this right now because you have too short of nunchucks, put your fingers in between, see where it goes flat. Preferably mine is 1 finger, so I should be spinning it around 1 finger. But instead of doing your wrist, do your finger. So instead of going down here, move it up. That way, it'll be a bit easier to move around. Okay. So you guys have been practicing this, and then you practice on the other side. If you can do it at the same time, you can try it. Right? 2 thumbs down, come to the front, flip. Now that you got that, I want you to try the other way. Your thumb's pointed up, right? You're going to spin it around the back of your wrist and catch. So you're going 1, 2. Let me do this slowly. 1, 2. The motion's the same, except one time the string's on the bottom, one time the string's on the top. Then I'm going to go to the other side. 1, 2. The other way is, Carter, is you can literally just cut it and then retie it yourself. For fixing your strings. You have to get your own shoelaces or your own string, though, to do that. You have to kind of thread it through the little bars inside. But you can do that. It's just cut the strings. But the second you cut them, you can no longer put it back on or use these. So, I don't know. I've done it once or twice. I tend not to want to do it and just get a different pair of nunchucks. But I'm lucky. I live out of studio, so I get a lot of nunchucks that can be my right size. Whoop. Once you got that down, try it with both. 1. Hold it, freeze, and then back up. 2. Oh, I messed it up with my left hand. My left hand is the one that's uncoordinated today. It switches back and forth for me. Sometimes my right hand can do things, sometimes my left hand can do things. It's very rarely that I can do it both. Oh, yeah, it's getting there. It's just a little off. But that's why you practice with both. That's why I have you do this on one side, shh, and then do it on the other side. So you get used to this. You get used to the motion. So when we start to do more complicated tricks, you'll be able to do them with both hands without pausing. Okay. So that's our first move. You guys probably got that down pretty well at this point. If you don't, that's okay. I just want you to remember. So now we're going to get into side rolls. Side rolls. Oh, there we are. Okay, let me answer this couple questions real fast. So first, Caitlin keeps dropping or losing her nunchucks to catch it when she doesn't. She grabs the strings of the other nunchuck. Oh, Caitlin got it. Isabella got it. Good job, guys. So, you know what, Caitlin, I'm going to answer your question. I was right. Caitlin, I'm going to answer your question in a second, okay? But I'm going to answer it with these. If you're grabbing the strings, that means you're grabbing your hand too soon. So when I'm here, right, and I flip and I grab, it means you're grabbing when your hand's upside down, so it grabs the strings. You have to wait a bit longer. If you drop them, that's okay. Don't throw them really, really fast. Go slow, and then if you don't do it right and you drop them, that's fine, okay? This next one, I'm going to be honest with you. If some of you guys get today, I'm going to be very, very, very impressed. It is quite difficult. We are now going to do a side roll. A side roll. We're going to go back and forth here. Guess what? We're going to do it the exact same way we just did, where you go to the side. But there's an issue, right? When I go up and down, I can stay here as long as I want before I turn and grab. Can I do that when it's the side? No. So we're going to move this party, not to the trees. The trees aren't too good. We're going to move this party to the ground. All right, so sit it down on the ground for me, real fast. Ugh. Oh, I look like a cartoon character. So I'm here, and let me use my black nunchucks for this one. I'm here. I'm going to try it on the ground. Here's how I do this. I'm going to bring it to the front, line it up, switch. Now this is going to feel awkward because I can't fully grab the nunchucks. If you want to fully grab the nunchucks, you can. My suggestion is just go two fingers. Hold it pretty close up and just keep switching back and forth, right? Now, if you already know how to do this move, or you've done it a couple of times, start from over here, swing, switch. Once you got the other side, bring it over here. So let me do it again. 1, 2, 3. Let me do it slow. One around. Once it's here, switch to the other side, throw it. I'm going to stop this question before it happens. Your string's going to get tangled. When it gets tangled, straighten it out and then do it again. When we're doing it on the ground, it doesn't like it too much. Nunchucks are meant to be moved in the air, not on the ground. So do it a couple of times. Really get used to it. Go to the side, spin it, go here. You may need to whip your nunchucks a bit faster to get to this spot. That's fine. Now, for the people who got that down, awesome. I'm going to show you part 2 to this. For the people who did not get part 1, do not worry about it. You do not need to go to part 2 today. I'm fine if you don't. So part 1 is spinning around, letting go, going to the other side, bringing it to your other hip. Part 2 is now I'm going to do it inverse, just like we did standing. Bring it around, go to the other side, flip, bring it back. So you're going 1, 2. You may grab the strings a couple of times. That's fine. That's fine. Practice not. But if you're having struggles with it, lift it up just a little bit. Lift the first one up before you swing it. That will prevent you from grabbing the string a lot better. And see, I just grabbed my strings. That's fine. This is to practice. It's actually a lot easier standing once you get the motion down. There you go. I'm going to move back up. Again, feel free to ask questions. Keep doing this as I'm kind of pausing and we're working through things. Ooh, I like it, I like it. So it seems like most of you guys are getting this down fast. So I guess what I'll do is I will just go on. You can do it standing up, Isabella. So you can go 1, 2 standing up. So I'm going to give people a little bit extra time, but for kids like Isabella that have it down really fast, here's what I want you to do. Come up, down, side, up. So you guys know this. Oh, sorry. Down, diagonal, up. Try 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. For the people who have it down. What I'm doing here is I go diagonal. After I go diagonal, I'm going to do my turn that I did on the ground. 1. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to do the upward one that we practiced. So I'm going diagonal, side, up. Diagonal, side, up. This is one of my favorite nunchuck combos that you'll see me do. And actually, you'll see me do a little bit more of a complicated one. I'll go diagonal down, diagonal up, side up. So I do 3 twirls within it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't even realize. In the other one, I just kind of go around. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but if you get your hand rolls down, you got a lot of different combos. But do try side, up. Bring it to the side, 1, up. If you want, another thing that you can do is go 1, 2, bring it up, 1, 2, and just practice doing both hands. 1, 2. See, this is something that I could even practice more. I bet you guys can practice this more too. 1, 2. This, I know why my left hand's off today. I was gonna say, this pink one is slightly different than the black one. Okay, I did not realize that. They are very similar, but I'm like spinning this around. I'm like, what's going on? Why can't I not get a good grip? Let me see if I can do it with my black one, though. Yes! Oh my goodness. It was... That makes sense. Okay. See, now I can't use my right hand. Let me check to see if there's any questions. Yikes! Oh my goodness! Did I get you, Isabella? Did I get you with this? Now, this is some advanced nunchuck, Isabella. If you can't do the 1, 2, 3, that's fine. I have not shown that to my black belts yet that are learning nunchucks. I think the things that I've shown them is something that I may show you today. But you guys have learned pretty much everything they've learned except for a figure 8 like this and then a figure 8 like this. They know both of those, but that's about it from what you guys know versus what they know. Oh, I love it, Kaylin. Not grabbing the strings at all? That's difficult. That's difficult. All right, so keep going. Keep going. Now we're going to move on to something that's going to be very hard to do at home, an inverse figure 8. So I'm going to talk about an inverse figure 8 as you guys are still practicing your hand rolls back and forth, right? And just get really good. Just keep tossing them. 1, 2 with one. Maybe do it with the other. 1, 1, 2. And just get used to this motion. Get used to going fast with it, right? While I'm talking, I'm going to talk about the inverse figure 8. It's called the inverse figure 8 because I'm literally doing a figure 8, but sideways. If you turn me sideways while I'm doing this, you turn your phone camera sideways, if you're watching me on a phone, it would look like this. It's the same motion, right? I'm going to do a figure 8 normally. Now I'm going to turn myself sideways, and it's the same thing. But our body doesn't think it's the same thing. The problem is our body thinks a figure 8 is only vertical. It's not horizontal. So we're going to reteach our body what a figure 8 is by doing what we did in our first class. You know how we went like this, and then I talked about going to the other side and then switching back and forth, and that's how we learned our figure 8. Same thing with our inverse figure 8. Instead, we're going to spin it inside. So I want you to choose one nunchuck and spin it around in a circle up. Here. Notice how my thumb's down. It's almost like I'm stirring a cup of hot chocolate with my thumb. So I'm stirring my hot chocolate. There you go. Now all I need to do is bring my thumb up. I'm pointing it up towards the ceiling, and it's almost like I'm spinning a tiny fan around in a circle. So I got my tiny fan, then I flip down, hot chocolate. Fan, hot chocolate. There we are, there we are. 1, 2, 1, 2. So try this out. Spin it a whole bunch. Get really used to the hot chocolate stir. Once you get used to it, all you're going to do is take your thumb, flip it up. See how my thumb's inverse right now? I'm stirring my hot chocolate. I'm going to give you a thumbs up. Stir my hot chocolate. Now, what's important is I don't turn my thumb the other way. I go back the same direction. So I'm doing this. Feel free, if you're struggling, look at me. If you're not struggling, practice doing your inverse figure 8, right? Get good at it. Get it going as fast as you possibly can. But if you are struggling, try this out. Spin your hot chocolate. Flip up. Helicopter. See how my elbow is coming up? 1. It's kind of awkward, right? Some people may want to do this, but my elbow's down. So bring your elbow up. Spin. Spin. Then try doing this. 1 spin. 1 spin. 1 spin. 1 spin. Then with my nunchucks, 1 spin. 1 spin. 1, 1, 1, 1. Get used to it. This is a hard one. This is a hard one. If you're struggling, let me know what you're doing. I'm going to check the comments, and then I'm going to talk about some common mistakes on this. I can kind of do it. I'll take it, Isabella. So, here's some common mistakes. A common mistake is kids like to go really fast with it, and your nunchucks end up looking like this. And you're not really doing it. Take it slow. Really, just spin your nunchuck. If you want to angle this one a bit sideways, you can. If you want to go straight up and down, you can too. But angle your nunchuck. Get used to this spinning. Then, right when the nunchuck is coming around to the start, flip. So it comes around to the start, flip my thumb up, there. Now that's me doing it with 2 hands. You do it with 1 hand. So spin right when it's about to be as far away from you as it possibly can be. Lift your thumb up and just try to keep your spinning. A large part of this is just that coming up. So practice spinning, then practice coming up. Practice spinning, practice coming up. And then once you get that down, just do 1 and do it fast. Now, for those advanced people out there. Now, if you're Miss Isabella and you just can kind of do it, keep working on it. If you're somebody who's got their right side but not their left side, do your left side. If you're somebody who's got both, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to show you how to do a double figure 8 spin. Double inverse figure 8. This is one of my favorite moves of all time, because it can be spun into a whole bunch of different moves. Here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. And actually, I'm going to teach this by just doing it with 1 hand. I want you to bring and do an inverse figure 8 while you're holding it, right? So you're doing the spin as it comes around. Lift it up. And do it with just 1 hand. See how your body is moving? It's almost like you're a witch, right? You're going 1, 2, 1, 2. Once you get used to that, put down your nunchucks. Do it with your hands closed, but put your wrists together. 1, 2. Once you got that, grab both your nunchucks. Start one first. Start to spin your hot chocolate. Have the other one chase. Actually, start with the ceiling fan. That's always how it works out better. So this one's going to start first, right? Towards the ceiling. Have the other one chase right behind it, like it's a rabbit. There. Whoa. Nice. So you guys are probably working on your inverse figure 8 right now. If you you got that down, you're doing it with your left side. If you got that down, you're doing it with both. That's going to be your hardest one. By far. By far. Now, let's see. Oh, that's pretty much class today. But you know what? We'll do one more for fun. One more for fun. Now, this is an extremely advanced move. If you don't get it down today, that's fine. So repeat after me. If I don't get this down, I will not be upset. I will not be upset. I have black belts that still can't do this move. It's very difficult. We're going to break this down step by step. For the Chodambos out there, this is kind of like redondo. It's kind of like redondo. If you have no idea what I say when I say redondo, don't worry about it. Put your wrists together. What I want you to do is bring it to one side and draw a circle. One side and draw a circle with your nunchucks. So if I have it over here, and start with your black one spinning first. So 1, 2. So just do this. 1, 2. If you can keep your wrists together, that's preferred. If you can't, that's fine. 1, 2. 1, 2. So again, black one spins, pink one follows. Think of your nunchucks as one is a fox, one's a rabbit, one's a fox. The rabbit runs around, the fox chases. But then the fox becomes a rabbit, the fox runs around, the rabbit chases. So they're switching back and forth between which one's the fox and which one's the rabbit. So let me do this slowly. Rabbit runs around, comes back up, comes to the start. Fox chases. Fox is now running away. Rabbit chases. So put them out here. So the one that's far away, move across. Chase it around, bring it back to the start. Other one, go to the same side. Now take that one that you just spun, put it on the other side, around, back to the start, around. Take the one that you just spun, one side, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now see if you guys can go faster with it. So you go 1, immediately chase, then immediately to the next one. So you know, once the pink one's done, it needs to go to the other side immediately, right? So the black starts, the pink goes, but then the pink goes forward. That's your motion in this move. Now, look what I'm doing. See how I'm moving my hips around? Kind of like when you ask somebody a question and they're a little bit happy-go-lucky and they're like, I don't know. It's like that. My hips turn back and forth. So look at this. My hip turns as it comes down. You know that diagonal strike we worked on? It's that same motion. So diagonal strike, diagonal strike, diagonal strike, diagonal strike. So I'm just doing delayed diagonal strikes on each side. That's another way to think about it. If you're not a huge fox and a rabbit analogy, if you don't like that, that's the other way to think. Diagonal, 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 diagonal. Now, right now, it probably looks really sloppy. It doesn't look good. That's fine. It may look like this. That's okay. Because if you get used to that motion, eventually you're going to start to speed it up. And then you'll do it full hand, like this. And it still looks a little bit sloppy, but then you start using your elbows instead of your shoulders. And it starts to look better. And then you use your wrists instead of your elbows. Then it looks how it's supposed to look. That's the goal of all of this. Is I show you something, you start out, and it may look like this. It looks sloppy, it's slow, you're using your entire body instead of just your wrists. But then you speed it up and you're like, okay, well I don't need my shoulder, so I'm just not going to use it anymore, I'm going to use my elbow. And then you get better at it and you're like, well okay, I don't need my elbow, so I'm just going to use my wrist to spin it around. And then that's when you get good. 1, 2. So I'm going to give you guys a challenge. I'm going to give you guys a challenge this week, and I'm going to look to see if anybody's had any trouble real fast before I hand out this challenge. Okay, we're all good. So here's your challenge. Your challenge is to come up with a nunchuck form. You know, you're stuck at home, you want to do some martial arts, do some martial arts. Do some Taekwondo. use the things you use today. You guys know how to do this. You guys know how to do this. You guys know how to do a figure eight. You can start combining some of these things, right? You can go side, diagonal, up, spin, down, up, figure eight, double figure eight. You can start to combine them. Start to create your form. You guys have enough to create your form. Here's my suggestion on your form if I'm putting it out there. Usually do 2 strikes or a strike into a fancy spin move. So strike, fancy spin move. So if you go down, down, fancy spin move up. Or fancy spin move down, strike, fancy spin move up. Add strikes in between each one of your things because then it's just going to look a little bit more fluent and a little bit more cool. Also, if you guys want something that I didn't quite show you today, try to do stop flips. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's going to be difficult. So, all right. I think I'm going to end the stream right there. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll answer via text. And I will see you guys in the next class. I see a lot of purple, green, and blue belts, so I'll probably see you then. Have a great rest of your day.